afternoon, everybody. It's a great and wonderful Saturday. Welcome to Young and Dynamic. It is such a pleasure to have you here with us today. My name is Praise Shito, and I am super thrilled to be your MC. Allow me to extend a special welcome to our executives who have joined us here today. Thank you so much for your unwavering support. We are so grateful, and we thank you for gracing us with your presence today. And yes, today is a great day indeed. It is Miss Tanya's birthday. Happiest of birthdays, Miss Tanya. We love you so much and we wish you a happy and a blessed life. Please do keep your birthday messages and wishes coming through in the chat box, and let's show her just how much we love and appreciate her. Let's help her celebrate her day and let her know that her family is so excited about the amazing gift of life that God has granted her today. Moving on, please do tell us where you're connected from and how you're doing today. Do feel free to type in the chat box how you're doing, how's the weather on your end. And yes, once again, welcome everyone. And let us make us the most of this opportunity for learning. Without wasting much of your time, please allow me to quickly go through the housekeeping rules for today. Make sure you have a notebook and you also have a pen with you, and we all know that a great leader always has a pen and always has a notebook to jot down notes. Keep your gadgets on mute at all times unless you've been requested to speak by the facilitators. And in case you're leaving the meeting briefly, please kindly switch off your camera and then you switch it on back when you are back to the platform. Please feel free to use the chat box for any questions, for any comments, and anything that you may want to say. Our team in the background is always there to make sure that they take everything and relevant action will be taken. Please allow me to leave this time to Faith to commit the session unto the Lord. Over to you, Faith.
Thank you, Praise. Afternoon, everyone, and happy birthday, Miss Tanya. I'm going to share a Bible verse from James chapter 1, which says, "Count it all joy, my brethren, when you meet various trials, for you know that the testing of your faith produces steadfastness. And let steadfastness have its full effect, that you may be perfect and complete, lacking in nothing." Let us pray. Father God, I thank you for granting us the opportunity to have this day. Thank you for our lives. Thank you for the shelter that we have. Thank you for the food that we have. Thank you for Higher Life Foundation. Thank you for each and everyone connected to this session. I want to pray, Lord, that you may be with us as we face different trials in life. May we have steadfastness. May we know that in you we are complete and perfect and lack nothing. I pray for this session, Jehovah, that you may be with us, you may guide us. May we learn from you. May we accept everything that we get. May we be able to then produce results from everything that we learn. I'm putting everyone in this session in your hands, Jehovah. Our families, may you bless them, Jehovah. I'm praying for all the recent graduates from all the universities. May you bless them. May you grant them jobs of their liking. May they have passion in everything that they do. Thank you for today. Thank you forever and ever. Amen.
Amen and amen. Thank you so much, Faith, for such a wonderful prayer. And yes, indeed, God is good all the time. A massive congratulations, shout out to our graduates. Congratulations, congratulations. You did amazingly good, and we thank the Lord for this milestone. I'm going to hand over this time to the technical team to play a video for our amazing graduates.
Yes.
Wow, this was so beautiful. This was so beautiful. Thank you so much, Tech Team. And once again, congratulations to all of our graduates. We love you and we thank the Lord for this. Thank you so much. And this was so great. I'll gladly leave this time to Pastor Menashe. Over to you, Pastor Menashe.
Thank you very much, Praise. It's always good to see you and your beautiful smile. Thank you so much. Thank you for leading us very well. And it was good to see all the young people there smiling in their gowns and graduating. It took me back to my first degree. So I just want to say congratulations once more to all those that have graduated. Please, if you're in any WhatsApp group and you graduated, please share with us your photo. We want to see you. We want to celebrate with you. You can just post it in any Young and Dynamic WhatsApp group so that we celebrate you as you get into the world of work. So today's session that we are going to have is very critical and important, especially to those that have just graduated. These ones, the one we are celebrating, the ones that are going to graduate in the next year to 3 years, if you are here, and even to those that are going to graduate 5 years from now. And those who are starting their first year today, we have something important and critical for you. What we are going to be watching today, it's something that you really need to have a pen and a notebook to write notes on. What are we going to be talking about? Our chairperson, our executive chair and founder of the Econet Group, who's also our patron, Dr. Strive, is going to be talking to us about the inspiration that has led him to make the impacts that he has made on the continent of Africa. The work that he has done with Econet, the work that he has done with Liquid, the fiber that he has laid from Cape Town all the way to Cairo, and the work that is surrounding that particular work. So what do we intend for you guys to take out of this? Number one, remember Mr. Strive started off as you and me. Here in Zimbabwe, he is a Zimbabwean, okay? Here in Zimbabwe, where he started his enterprise. And he grew from there, and today he's standing among the greatest of all time when it comes to the business sector, when it comes to entrepreneurship. So it is to take inspiration that if Mr. Strive can do it, and he is giving us the tools through platforms like Young and Dynamic and through education and the scholarship that we are getting through our Higher Life Foundation, we will also be able to do it. He is a practical living example of what it is to start from zero and become a hero. So that is number one. We need to take or draw inspiration from the lessons that we are learning from Mr. Strive and what he has accomplished and achieved. Number two, would like you also to understand how technology is informing the world of work and how it is informing life as a whole. That will help you to position, it will help you to pivot, it will help you to relook into your priorities when it comes to, number one, your career choice. So to all the first years, this is your time. As you listen to this video today, you want to look at, is my career choice aligned to what is going to be happening in the next 10 years and in the next 15 years? He's going to be talking about that. Then number two, you want to reevaluate and see if your career path is going to be aligned to what is going to be happening in the world of work in the next 5 to 10 years. So those are some of the lessons, that is some of the knowledge that you need to draw from this interview that Mr. M had about 3 months ago. and reassess yourself and reposition yourself. How are you going to reposition yourself? You want to go back to your goals. You remember the goal setting sessions that we have always been having. You want to go back to your goal setting session, to that goal setting session and to the goals that you set for yourself, and re-look into them and rework them if needs be, and rework them and align yourself. I think I've mentioned this several times on this platform, that if you're going to be doing typewriting in this day and age, no one wants to employ you, right? Because those skills are not necessary anymore. Everyone now is typing for themselves, even on their phones. People are typing their dissertations on their phones nowadays. So we want you to relook, to reevaluate the skills that you will require for the future. Once you have done that, that will inform the type of careers that you should move towards, the type of businesses that you should move towards, the type of projects that you should move towards, so that you will be able to remain relevant in this VUCA environment that we are in, or in this ever-changing environment that we find ourselves in. That way, you will be able to contribute better to the building of your community and to the building of your nation, and above all, to your own life in as far as sustainable livelihood is concerned. You will be able to earn something out of the skills or out of the services that you're going to be giving out. So I hope all of us, we have our notebooks ready. All of us, we have our pen or pencil. I would suggest a pen ready. I hope you also have your tablet ready. Before I ask Mr. Killian to play the video, I would like to welcome a very, very special guest with us today. That special guest is all the way from Masvingo. Can you imagine? We have a special guest all the way from Masvingo. And let me check if Mr. Herbert Chitongo, Mr. Herbert Chitongo, are you with us and our guest? Can you please switch on your video if you are connected with our guest today? Mr. Herbert Chitongo, all the way from Masvingo, or if there is anyone from Masvingo SBU who is with our guests today. I'm not going to tell people who the guest is until I see them online, but I know that they were meant to connect today. Mr. Herbert, please put your hand up. Mr. Chitongo, please put your hand up if you are here and you are connected. Oh, then Herbert Chafanza from UZ then says, good afternoon. Good afternoon, Herbert Chafanza. I mean, Mr. Herbert Chitongo. So I think they might just be having connectivity problems. I'm not sure, but they were supposed to have connected with some brilliant young people who are coming all the way from Masvingo. I'm sure when he connects, we will get to know that they are connected and you're not going to miss them, because it's a special group of young people that are connected with us here today. I believe they're here with us. But anyway, we will move on ahead, and I'm looking forward to see you guys participate in the chat box as we go through today's session with some incredible and important nuggets that you need to carry and to take with you. Mr. Killian, over to you as you play today's video.
Hello. All right, thank you, everyone. Strive just got here, so we're very happy to have you here, Strive. How you doing?
I'm just about to wake up.
Okay, this will wake you up, I think. I think it'll be good.
Hopefully.
So Strive, thank you for starting off our second day today. So this session is talking about connecting Africa's next generation, and you're, of course, the perfect person for that, because for more than 2 decades, you've been dedicated to this. And so I wanted to start with this statistic that I found to be really interesting. Internet use in sub-Saharan Africa went from 1% in 2000 to 30% in 2022 to now roughly 40%. Some people might call that progress. Curious what you would call it.
Progress. That's as good progress as you're going to get anywhere in the world. You know, sometimes people beat us up in Africa, but we're making a lot of progress.
Why isn't it higher, though?
It's a big continent, a lot of work. But if you look at it this way, there are now more than 500 million smartphones on the African continent, which is more than the US, Canada, more than Europe. So we're connecting a lot of people very quickly, but it's hard work.
Talk about that, because you and your team have been expanding all across the continent, most recently in North Africa. And most recently, I was seeing into cybersecurity and cloud computing. Can you talk about why that gets the continent closer to full connectivity? Why is that your focus right now?
Well, first of all, Jennifer, you know, I've been working in Africa's communications and telecommunications industry for some 35 years now.
Yeah.
And I was really fortunate to have been part of the initial wave, the mobile industry. But, you know, things move on. Technology goes forward, and it's moving very rapidly. For the last 20 years, our own business has pivoted to digital infrastructure. So we began by building fiber. You know, first of all, we used to be the biggest satellite providers on the continent, and we had tens of thousands of satellite earth stations. Then fiber came along, and we could move large volumes of data. And we realized that we didn't have the plumbing on the continent. Even your mobile phone, your smartphone, needs fiber in the background. So we thought, well, let's do it. So we built a fiber. We dug along the highways from Cape Town all the way to Harare in Zimbabwe, all the way to Lubumbashi in southern DRC. We turned east, and we gently made our way to Cairo. So we've now built 110,000 kilometers of fiber across the continent. So we've linked up most of the countries now. But with that comes additional infrastructure, such as data centers. So we're the biggest builders of high-capacity data centers on the continent. And we also do the cloud provision. Right. So it's all part and parcel of putting in place the digital infrastructure on which the services are then built.
And you talked last year about how you wanted to raise $500 million in order to invest in a lot of this expansion that you've had. We heard from U.S. President Joe Biden about a commitment to build data centers. And I know you've said that the continent needs patient capital and needs people to really commit to expansion. Was that investment by the U.S. sort of what you were talking about, or is there more needed to expand in the ways that you're hoping for?
Look, like any entrepreneur, you're always raising capital. We probably have raised about $1 billion now for data centers, of which about $300 million came from the U.S. Sovereign Fund, Development Finance Corporation. We got money from PIC, the South African, British. We've got a lot of long-term capital from sovereigns. And we're still raising it. So if there are any sovereigns, I'm ready for the money. Just give it to me. I'll bury it in cables right here.
Here in Morocco?
Yeah, we're going to build some data centers here too. So we are building a lot of high capacity data centers to take in your big hyperscale services from people like Google, AWS, Microsoft. They're all warehoused with us. And that's part of the digital infrastructure that you need, even for your streaming services like Netflix and so forth. So we've been quietly putting those on the ground as well.
How are you working with governments to do that? We were talking about Angola in the back. I mean, what is the public-private relationship that you're having, especially considering a lot of governments are changing at this point in time? I mean, how is it that you're continuing this progress despite a lot of the issues that a lot of countries are going through?
Look, we have boots on the ground in 31 African countries, okay? Only Coca-Cola can say more than that. Okay, we put people on the ground, we build in these countries. And, as long as we are welcome, as long as there's an enabling environment, we're a private company. We don't ask for government capital. We don't participate in government tenders. We build as a private company. So we don't take money from governments, we just build. If governments have sovereigns that want to invest, that's great. But this is all private. We laid all that fiber across this continent as a private company. Of course, we come into markets like Morocco here, where we didn't have to build anything, but we still partner with people like Morocco Telecom to see how we can integrate their network into our overall infrastructure. Because we want the whole of Africa to talk to each other. They've got to be connected. And I'm just Africa's plumber.
You're just?
I'm the plumber.
Come on.
I'm just laying the pipes in the ground, that's all I do.
I don't think anyone would refer to you as a plumber, but
Yeah,
if you'll say that, then we'll take that. So Strive, how far off is this continent really from all being interconnected in the way that you really envisioned 30-something years ago?
Hey, when I got into this industry, and I always, it's almost a cliche now, less than 1%. In fact, I used to have a data point I used to share that 75% of the people had never heard a phone ringing. Just think about it. I didn't say I'd never used a phone. They'd never heard it ringing. Today, 75% of the African people have a mobile phone. They use one, okay? And we will do the same with the internet in the next 5 years. We will do it as an industry, as entrepreneurs. All we need is the space. And we need investment support because we are the best investment case for this in the world.
And, we are seeing a number of projects in addition to yourself. Of course, Elon Musk and Starlink are trying to do a lot of connectivity here on the continent. But when you talk about investment, where is the capital still needed? What are investors maybe not realizing where they should be channeling their money?
Look, throughout the whole value chain. So you've got players like us, obviously, in digital infrastructure. We also do digital services. Now, whether you're talking about cloud, we do cybersecurity because we have to protect Africa's data. But now there is the opportunity around artificial intelligence. Yeah. It's here, it's now. We're building for that too. So the whole value chain, for example, e-commerce probably hasn't taken off to the extent that it should have in Africa. We've got to sort out the payment systems so that the entrepreneurs can build proper e-commerce on the continent. So Africa is not exotic. It's not outside the world. It's part of the world. So whatever is going on in the world, Africa is absolutely a part of it.
What exactly with AI are you building? I mean, especially because we're seeing a lot of developed countries around the world really tap into AI. What potential do you think Africa has to be a part of this revolution?
Look, in the next 10 years, it is estimated that AI will add anything up to $30 trillion to global GDP. Just think about that. In just the last 6 months, 4 US companies have added more than $4 trillion to their own market capitalization. So AI is here and it's here now. Now it's here in several respects. One is what is popularly referred to as infusion, in the sense that it will infuse through everything we do. So it doesn't matter what business you are. In telecommunications, for instance, we have a lot of data, we have a lot of services. We want to leverage AI to improve the performance of our services, to create new products. Then there is just the emergence of new services and products. Look at it this way. If you were to compare where we are with AI, with the internet, Google hasn't yet been born. Facebook is not yet born. The AI equivalents have not yet been born. There are going to be some extraordinary new companies. We won't be talking of big tech, we'll be talking of big AI. The question for Africa is, can we be a part of it? Absolutely, we have to be a part of it. So, it's for Africa's young entrepreneurs to get going.
And for anyone who doesn't know, Strive, you have a very active Facebook social presence. Is that safe to say? Somewhat.
Sometimes.
Sometimes, okay. Well, you mentioned young entrepreneurs. You spend a lot of time advising and guiding young entrepreneurs about what they can do, how they should move throughout the world to find success. When we talk about the next generation of Africa's workforce, we talk about AI, we talk about what's happening across the world. I mean, what is it that the next generation here on the continent can do, considering how far a lot of these other countries are? I mean, how can they keep up while the continent is still really playing catch up to what a lot of the developed economies have already established?
No, thank you for that. I have about 6 million followers on Facebook.
You do?
And I
don't.
I blog. And actually, Facebook say that my followers are amongst the most engaged in the world.
Okay.
And they're all entrepreneurs.
See? There we go.
Okay. And they are not behind. They're ahead. Africa is teeming with entrepreneurs. Okay. It's us, governments and policymakers and the elders and investors. We're not trusting them. So we have to get behind them. And let me tell you, you're going to see some incredible African enterprises emerge in the next few years. Of that, I have no doubt. So I believe in our young people. But I always say to them, perspective is extremely important. This is a business meeting, so what's the perspective? Africa is a continent of 1.3 billion people. Okay? In the last 25 years, our GDP has gone up from 350 billion to 3 trillion. We're one of the fastest expanding regions in the world. Only China expanded faster than us in that period. Okay? Do you see that, Africa? Yes, we have a lot of challenges. Who doesn't? Europe has a war in the middle of Europe right now, So we all have challenges, okay? And each generation has to address and take on those challenges. But Africa also has extraordinary opportunities. So I talk to these young people about reminding them that the glass is really, in their case, not even half full, but 3/4 full. Okay? There is just so much opportunity for them to take on the challenges of this continent. They're better educated than anyone before them. They're better connected. They are more conscious of their challenges, and they're more confident than any generation before. So yes, I'm very confident, and I love exchanging ideas and kind of learning from them. Actually, I'm the one learning from them.
Well, on the other side of it, your peers, other investors you mentioned, governments, are they receptive? I mean, you mentioned that you are trusting of this next generation, but are you seeing enough of your peers then be receptive to the eagerness of this next generation? And what is it that you tell them in your discussions?
Well, I to the extent that people listen to me, I talk to some of the leaders about creating the right ecosystem. We have the potential, but potential doesn't happen by itself, doesn't realize by itself. One of the big challenges we have on the African continent, as I'm sure you discussed yesterday, we're not seeing enough foreign direct investment.
Right.
Okay. Our foreign FDI is below that of Singapore, which has 4 million people. Okay. And I know Singapore punches above its weight, but goodness me, we need to really see capital flows. So we need to have serious discussions with the global investment community. What do you want us to do? What should we be doing that will make you more comfortable to invest in us? Because it's a two-way communication. So I led a delegation of technocrats at the US-Africa Summit. Again, I was the plumber working in the background. But we really engaged our US partners about what we should do to try and improve investment flows. We need to see venture capital come into Africa. The young people can't build the businesses they need to build from loans. Silicon Valley would sink if it relied on bank loans. We need venture capital. And we need domestic capital. We need to mobilize our own savings. We've seen how China has moved with mobilizing its own savings. And we have savings. We have insurance. We have pension funds. We need to see them beginning to take steps, and it will require policy. Okay, that will see capital flows that are more willing to take risk in the entrepreneurs that are there.
Are you seeing that now? The policy that you're talking about?
Early days.
Where specifically are you?
I said it's early days. I don't like to talk in terms of specific countries and regions, because then when I go there, they beat me up. Sometimes they won't let me in.
I doubt that.
I'm getting old now.
I doubt it still.
I'm not the fighter anymore,
Yeah.
But there's some areas where they're taking some real steps. There's a lot of good leaders out there who are listening, and doing some interesting things.
So you are optimistic that in the near term, the next generation of the African workforce can really be a competitor to places like China, to places like the US. Is that your viewpoint?
Let me put it this way. We have no option. We have to be. If we don't do that, what are we going to do with all these young people? So we have to invest not only in the ecosystem, but we have to invest in skills. It's not just about education anymore. So we have to put a lot more into skills. That's why, a couple weeks ago, I went to Zambia, and in fact, I met the president of Zambia on the sidelines of a conference in Qatar, and we agreed that we would connect all their high schools. So we've mapped some 2,000 high schools, and we found that about 500 of them are within 500 meters of our fiber network in Zambia. So we've begun to connect them. But we've already done that in places like Zimbabwe, we've done that in Kenya. We're working with governments to make sure colleges and schools. We have some 55 tech hubs across the continent that we support with fiber, with broadband access. So why are we doing that? Because we've got to make it easier for these young people. But that's a drop to what needs to be done.
Right.
So it needs to be happening at all the different levels. So it's about skills. If we don't win on skills, particularly, we've got to just make it clear. We've got to teach maths. We've got to teach technology in schools, because that is how China did it. That is how India is doing it. You know, I'm not saying let's not do the arts and dance and everything else, but, but it's critical that we teach maths in our schools.
Right.
And we drive skills. Things like coding and so forth. These are going to be standard education. In places like Hong Kong, they're teaching 5-year-olds how to code. So are you going to compete with that if you don't get going? It's not hard, but let's not dance around it and make slogans and speeches. Let's go out and do it. Let's get the kids in schools with skills. And when we get down to skills, even plumbing is a good skill. Just make sure that the kid has a good skill. It's terrible when we have to bring in tilers from India or from Italy in order to tile a hotel in Africa. Come on, we got to get those basic skills in, electricians, and the new stuff, putting in things like solar panels, and these are new skill areas which will give our kids decent, dignified jobs for the future.
We'll strive. Thank you so much for your time. I'm still not going to call you a plumber, but really appreciate the work you're doing on the continent. And thank you, everyone, for listening.
Thank you, and God bless.
Thank you.
Great. And here it is, ladies and gentlemen. And before, as we come to a close, I'd like to just hear from you some of the things that you have taken from this incredible interview, from this amazing interview that was very clear on some of how the future looks like and what we need to do to prepare ourselves for the future. As you are preparing for your responses, some of the things that I've taken from it is the opportunities that are coming in e-commerce. So what are your thoughts? What are the things that you need to start doing now, or some of the things that you need to start doing now so that you can benefit from e-commerce, or some of the skills that you require now to prepare in order to take advantage of the opportunities that are going to come from e-commerce. I'm glad that some of you have already started embracing e-commerce in your smaller ways, but what can we do to ensure that we increase capacity, we scale up from where we are? I know that a number of you, like someone from UZ who's selling their dresses on WhatsApp Business. It's a start, you are starting. So, and it's a good move, but how can we show that we can improve and we grow from there? There was a talk of critical skills, and I'd like to hear your comments from you guys. There was a talk of digital infrastructure on the continent. As data centers are being built, what skills do you need to have, do you need to put in place for you to be able to benefit from that? Then there was a talk of the big AI, which is coming. You know, we were just about to start a conversation on the big tech as Africa, but that has already been overtaken We are now talking about the big artificial intelligence. What do you need to do now to prepare yourself for the big AI as it comes? What skills do you need to have? What areas do you need to look into to prepare yourself for what is coming in the future so that you remain relevant? So I'd like to hear from you guys. What was your takeaway from the session? So I'll start with Chamkuza and Mavura. Chamkuza and Mavura Mafowan, leading by example.
Oh,
Can
hello.
we hear from you guys? Are you able also to just switch on your video so that we see your face?
Hello, Pastor Menashe.
Hello, how are you?
Yeah, I'm all right. The other
That's
partner is
Owen.
just, yeah, that's Owen, sure.
Hi, Owen, how are you doing?
Well, quite interestingly, I listened to the closing, what I would say the closing remarks from Dr. Strev Masio, when you said that we need to
I don't know what happened to Owen's internet there. I know Owen is always has something very interesting to say. So I'm looking forward to hear from you, Owen, once you are back. I'll move on to Nigel. Nigel, do you want to switch on? Owen, are you back? Kindly allow Owen to unmute. Let me ask him to unmute. Go ahead and unmute, Owen. Because I can see your lips moving, but I can't hear what you are saying. So you might need to reconnect, Owen. Let me move on to Nigel. Nigel, please come through. And if possible, switch on the video.
Okay, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
How are you, Pastor Menashe?
I'm well. It's good to see you.
All right, wonderful. Okay, so yeah, from the interview that Dr. Masiwa was having, I actually managed to pick a few things which are of a very, 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 very critical. We those things which are very important for us, things that we need to understand, things that we need to get ready for, because it's actually something that was amazing, because we were getting some words of wisdom, and they came in a prospective way, actually giving a heads up on what is in our future and what we have to expect. So I think I'll start with one of the things that I might need to highlight as well from what I learned, because the future, like currently the world is evolving and it's getting more technical. It's adopting more of the time saving and more of the energy saving ways of doing work.
Yeah,
so,
I would call that efficiency. I would call it efficiency. Yeah.
Exactly. So,
yeah.
The world is getting more efficient through the use of technology. And, the whole aspect now comes to what are we doing now, the skills that we're acquiring from the institutions that we are at, and how we should be able to adapt so that we might as well remain relevant in the near future. And also the aspect that you are showing as a leader, as a parent, or as a father, how he's doing his best so that he can prepare us for the coming future, so that we might remain competent in other countries. Like when you come from Africa, in the next 10 years, you have to go to Europe, you have to be competent. You have to go to America, you have to be competent. So he was just actually saying, in Africa, we are doing 1, 2, 3, so that these younger guys can remain competent when they go out there. So they are doing their part, but us as youths, we have to know where we stand. We have to do our part right now. We have to do our best to reach out, because now it's no longer about just having that degree, like doing risk management and insurance, doing HR, doing all those professions. We have to now complement them with other skills that will make us, like those people will be able to understand technology that much, so that we can do HR, but in a technological way, it makes us more competent. Yes.
Absolutely.
So I'm actually appreciating everything that was happening here because, it's actually a wake-up call. So I just want to summarize in that way, saying, guys, we need to learn all those things that is to do with computers. We need to understand overall what is going on with technology in other countries, in our countries, where we are and where we came from and where we have to go, so that in the coming future we remain relevant. So
Absolutely.
I think that's what I got as well from what Trev Masiwa was saying. It's actually a wonderful interview. I think we might learn from this, and our life should never be the same after hearing this. Thank you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I like the aspect that you have brought forward of competitiveness as Owen is preparing to come through, then Blessing, then Monashe, and then I'll come to Gokomere. Gokomere, I'll need 3 or 4 people that I can talk to. I like the fact that you have brought the issue of competitiveness, which he spoke about. He's doing all of these things, if you can interpret from what he has said, so that Africa becomes competitive on the global scale. And one of the things that he mentioned over and over again was the issue of skills, which Nigel also highlighted too. You are not going to university to get a degree. Please get this in your mind. Get this in your mind. My Form 3 teacher used to say, get it in your blankata. I never got to figure out what that means, but get it in your mind. You are not going there to get a degree. You are going there to get skills. Yes, Tepo. Get it in your medulla blancata. Tepo just commented in the chat box. It's skills that we are looking at. Are the skills that you are getting at your institution relevant to the future? Is it going to be relevant in the near future? How does that look like? Yeah. So for those who are at MSU, you know that you're doing marketing, right? But as you're doing your marketing, you can shop other modules. You can shop a module from IT. You can shop a module from engineering. I'm sure that by now they allow you to shop modules across faculties. It's very important and critical to look into that and say, okay, I'm doing marketing, but how do I augment? How do I complement the skills that I'm getting from marketing with other skills that I might get from other faculties or from other degree programs? So you want to look at it that way so that you will be able, so that when you leave school, you will be as relevant as you need to be. Let's hear a contribution from Nigel as he concludes on his contribution. I hope Gokomere is getting ready. Nigel, over to you. No, Owen. It's Owen. Nigel is just finished. Yes, Owen, let's hear from you.
Oh, hello, Pastor Master. Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can.
Oh,
your network has dropped again, Owen. I will ask you to type in the chat box. Let us move on to Blessing Mawezere from MSU. Mawereze from MSU. Blessing.
Good afternoon, Pastor Monashe.
Hello, Blessing.
How are you?
I'm all right. It's been a while. It's good to see you.
I just want to contribute on what I heard on this session and how it has helped me. Right. What I noticed and what I take note of is that Mr. Masiwa was saying we have no other option but Africa in the upcoming years, or in 10 years after this year, will be competing. Either we like it or not, Africa is going to compete, because he said we have no other option. Africa is going to compete with other big countries like China. And the only way we are going to do it is to the skills we have, and those skills come entrepreneurs, and mostly those entrepreneurs are more in the young generation, and those young generation, it's us, the young people. We have a lot of skills to give out our things, but he is there for us. If this is more power to us, the young people, we are being empowered. We are being empowered, and we have power, and through that to express and to give out ones who are more exposed to technology. Hence, Mr. Stripe was trying to give us power here as the young people. So that's, and it was so encouraging.
Okay, I missed some of the things that you mentioned there, but I'm glad that you talked about the human capital that we have here in Zimbabwe, right? Human capital and on the continent, human capital and all its components that surrounds it. So thank you very much, Blessing, for emphasizing on that and on the importance of how young people can participate in ensuring that Africa becomes competitive at a global scale. I hope, Blessing, you applied for the Young and Dynamic Opportunities. And next week, we look forward for you to lead us in prayer. So I look forward to see you more. I had not seen you in a while. I guess it's me who has not been available. So let me hear from Nyarai Seda from MSU. Hi, Nyarai. How are you doing?
How are you, Pastor Munashe? I'm okay. I hope I'm audible and you can clearly see me.
Yes, you're audible. I'm yet to see you, but I will see you along as you send your contribution.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity to say something. I was really asking it like when Dr. Strive was actually giving a presentation, like the capacity that he has to change the world. So what I can say is that, like, last time when I was watching news on AI, like I saw that it was saying that there was a graphic designer who had just lost his job in China because of AI, because they were saying that AI can do everything, like designing shoes and everything else, meaning to say that those who are currently studying maybe graphic designing, even any form of design, might end up losing their jobs. So my contribution is that I think that maybe we should do a forecast and eliminate those courses, because we end up wasting time, or if they, maybe we can eliminate those courses or modify them so that they become relevant in the future, because we'll end up wasting resources because of the AI. So that's my contribution. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, Nyarai. Very critical. I hope you also applied for the opportunity. Did you apply, Nyarai? Where is he? I hope Nyarai also applied. Did you apply for the opportunities that came through on Young and Dynamic? Because Nyarai has been here for a while, so hopefully she applied. So yes, she's talking about the critical skills and skills for the future. All right. So as you make a decision on your career, as you choose your career path, keep in mind what Dr. Strive has said here. With where he is seeing, he can see what's going to happen. He can see more clearly what's happening in the next 5 to 10 years. So this information should help you inform your decision-making process when you're looking at the job that you want to do, when you're looking at the career that you want to do, when you're looking at the business that you want to get into. And he says, well, we cannot stop you from choosing arts, from choosing all of those things. But what other skills can you add on to that to augment or to assist or to help you to remain relevant? You want to think along those lines. So let me cross over right now to Gokomere High School. These are the guests that I've been talking about, that I was looking forward to see them. So we have our young people from Gokomere, and I'm sure there are over 500 young people that are connected there. I've just asked you to unmute. Where are those 3-4 young people that can come through and we can have a conversation with them? I'd like to ask them simple questions on what jobs would be relevant in the near future. Gokomere, all the way from Masvingo, who is coming onto the platform to talk to us? Kindly unmute. Kindly unmute. I've actually asked you to unmute. Gokomere, hello, guys. We can see you, and I would want someone to unmute from there, and let's hear from you. So I can see that there are some who are in Form 1 there. The question is, what do you want to do when you grow up? How does this look like for you? Hi, Mr. Ichitongo, how are you doing? You had unmuted, now you've muted yourself. I'll ask you again to unmute. Hello, guys. Okay, so while Mr. Gitongo is doing what he is doing, let me find someone I can have a conversation with here. I don't see those hands anymore. I don't see those hands anymore. Anyone with a contribution? Mr. Gitongo, are you ready? Right, now we can hear you.
Hello, Mr. Mnashe. Good afternoon. How are you?
Good afternoon. Thank you so much for bringing Gokomere here. Yeah.
Good afternoon, Pastor Mnashe. Can you hear me?
Yes,
Yeah,
I
we are
can hear
having
you.
some sound challenge here at Gokomere High School, but we are connected. So we are trying to sort out the issue of sound. We cannot hear you properly from your side, but we are definitely connected at Gokomere High School.
Okay, that's all right then. So we're having connectivity problems. Let me take one last contribution from Truman. Let me take one last contribution from Truman, all the way from Ghana. Hello, Truman. How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm all right. Confirm you are in Ghana.
Yes, I am. I actually started my semester over a month ago. Yeah.
Amazing. Talk to us. What are your takeaways? And I know that you are already moving in this space with Zizo Paden. So how have you interpreted this discussion that we are having today?
Yeah, I mean, all the people who've spoken before me have said pretty much what I got from the video. I think one of the main things, though, is that when Dr. Strive was talking, he constantly mentioned, building the infrastructure, building the ecosystems. And I feel like for us young people, it's really important to understand that they're building, I would say, like, the ecosystem and the infrastructure. And it's not really being, spoon-fed to us. It's then upon us to then, get the skills and get, the networks, get exposure to some of the things that then enable us to actually leverage those ecosystems. For example, they've built that, fiber network from Cape to Cairo. They've invested in tech hubs and all of that. So it's now up to us as the young people to then use those opportunities and to just find ways to then incorporate that with whatever that we want to do. For example, I want to do engineering, specifically mechanical engineering. I know that because Africa is on that path of, development, he mentions that we're not that far behind. But in that being behind as well, it offers us as young people a lot of opportunities to then, leverage that growth and then use that to, further our passions and our purposes.
Absolutely, absolutely. And we can't, there's no better way to end it. You literally took my conclusion and just placed it there. So young people, the onus is now on us. And this is my charge as we come to an end. The onus is now on us. With all this information that we have received, how are you going to use this information for you as an individual? And how are you going to use this information for your community, for your nation, for the continent, and for the rest of the world? Because the world is ready for Africa. The world is ready to see Africa rise and take its place. And who is Africa? Africa is you, Africa is me. Who is Zimbabwe? Zimbabwe is you, Zimbabwe is me. Who is your family? Your family is you. So your family is looking forward to see you take them out from the quagmire of poverty into a place where there is sustainable livelihoods. They are looking forward for you to play that role. Your community is looking forward for you to bring the latest technology, for you to build structures that needs to be built in that community, for you to eliminate hunger, for you to eliminate poverty in your community. And it's you who has this responsibility on your shoulders. And all this information that we've been given would help us to ensure that we take our nation and our continent to become an upper middle income earning economies. It's very possible. So we leave it to you as young people to rise up and take the necessary steps through getting the right skills, through getting the right networks, through starting relevant businesses that will ensure that the issues around unemployment are eliminated in our country and in our continent, and we are moving our continent forward. Thank you once again for joining this amazing session of Young and Dynamic. We meet again next week as we continue with this particular series, which is called Reimagine Africa. You want to be part and parcel of what we are going to be talking about next week, and make sure that you connect on time and you connect with your friends. So be here at 3:30 exactly as we wait for 3:45. If you don't know what happens at 3:30, we will be dancing and playing some music from 3:30 to 3:45. So we do have a party from 3:30, so you want to connect here on time. And next week, we also look forward to have you Gokomere with us, and hopefully your network will be better and we'll have time to talk with you and get to know you better. Welcome to the family, and we love you. We look forward to see you next week. Mr. Killian, are you ready for some music as we dance ourselves out of this session? Or it's going to be Stan instead? I'm not sure who's going to play some music as we leave the platform. Thank you very much for connecting with us. Goodbye, everyone.